It can be tough because in the beginning you're going to be alone, and even well into your career you might be alone. You know what I mean? Like you might have people that are there to help you, people that can be tools, but those people also still have their own things that they're doing in a lot of cases. So you have to learn how to be a manager. You have to learn how to, you have a goal in mind and you have to manage people in regards to what you're doing to help you with your goal while you're also helping them. But I think that, when you first start, like, you can't expect anyone to come in and do it for you. You really have to be okay with like work.
Tampa Bay, we are bringing another entrepreneur at you. It's been a while since the Gasparilla overload, so we're starting to bring back a few Tampa and Florida entrepreneurs. Vincent A. Lancy here. Welcome back to That Entrepreneur Show, the podcast that will inspire all small business owners, entrepreneurs, and brand enthusiasts to jump to that next level. Today, we have someone who's been working on his craft year in and year out. Now he's getting in the news. He's getting some shows. He's got a new single coming out in the end of March. We're going to talk about all that and more. Jesse, Don Drago, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to learn all about your story more than what I've seen. Everyone out there supporting other entrepreneurs goes a long way. Took note of this guy right here being really supportive. Start to support him back. Took a look at all he does. And he is up and coming in the music industry, the event space. He's done a lot, and he's got a lot on the calendar. So stay tuned for the end of the episode. We're going to talk about what new song he's got coming out, where he's going to be performing next, what area he'll be in next, and all of that and more. But I want to start out, Don, what originally led you to music? Why'd you want to be an entrepreneur in the music space?
Yeah, so for me, I originally got into music from a writing standpoint. When I was a younger kid, I started writing kind of like as an emotional outlet, which probably a lot of other musicians will tell you. I was one of those kids who was, raised in a single family house, single parent household with just my mom. And I feel like, I had a little bit of like emotion or even like anger, or like sadness. So I feel like that's kind of why I picked up the pen. But then, obviously with that spark, it kind of ended up leading to so much more. And I fell in love with music as a fan, like all through my teen years. Like I was addicted to it. I used to be the kid that would get in trouble in school for always having my headphones in. And then, of course, that just kind of led to being a creator of it.
I love that. Always the kid with the headphones in. And many people, of course, writing could definitely be an emotional outlet, like you said. Definitely one of my mental health boosters. I just happen to be writing almost every day, but even everyone out there, you can start with journaling, just little things that you can do. My world's mental health as well. So definitely thankful you brought that up. But now, fast forward, what was the first song you ended up putting out on your own, Don? Dating back to then.
Well, it's funny because I was in a couple of groups before I really started pushing my own brand under the Don Drago umbrella. So I had a couple projects that I did with some groups that ended up being really good. But the first song that I did under my own personal name was back in 2020, and it was called Dark Boy.
All right, tell me about it.
It was pretty much like, so the last group that I was in, it was called Harmonic Sounds, and we were doing like kind of like dance hall music. And I basically just had a want and like a desire to kind of show a little bit more of like my dark side and like my more emotional side instead of just doing happy music, which is funny because now happy music and like good vibes music is my thing again. But I just had a point where I wanted to go through and just like for myself, just make kind of, darker music. And that's what it was about. It was like the song was called Dark Boy. It was like a melodic rap song. But it was really just about like, having that dark side and trying to maneuver through and just trying to make it as a musician.
I love how you said that there, trying to make it as a musician. When you were first getting going in the industry before 2020 even, what were some of the biggest hurdles you had just getting started, whether it was from an entrepreneurial brand perspective or in the music world? What was something that you remember like, damn, this roadblock took a minute?
Yeah. I think that in music, what people don't necessarily understand unless you're in it, right? And maybe a lot of other industries are like this. I'm not sure, but in music, I feel like specifically, there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of people who say they're this, say they're that, and when you're green, you believe them. You take people at their word for face value. You don't necessarily know how to check. You don't know how to, ask around and see someone's reputation, because obviously reputation says a lot if someone's worked with that person before.
Right.
So I feel like for me, I charged a lot of things to the game in the beginning, whether it be marketing or just people who said that they could help me. And the help wasn't really like their intentions weren't in the best place. It was really just for them to get a little bit of money in the short term.
I'm really happy you brought that up too, because that can relate to all entrepreneurs. We were talking about before the show, excuse me, where I used to do the school speaking, all of these things where I would send out hundreds and hundreds of books to these principals, all these things. We love your stuff. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to bring you in. I can do this, this, and this for you. And then when it came time to actually sign a check or send funds, nothing ever happened. They talk, talk, talk. I had someone even tell me they could bring my books international. This is when I first started, so I was super stoked. It was only contingent, I found out 2 meetings later, if I joined her company and was aboard, started a Florida chapter for her when I had no time as a solopreneur. I'm at this point, I'm still doing all my social media, doing email, I'm doing everything, all the hats. So that everyone out there, do your best to keep your tunnel vision on, but it's easier said than done. Did you have any lessons learned from that, or from now on when you met people after that, you did certain due diligence? Like, what did you do to make sure they were for real for after that?
Yeah, 100%. So I definitely learned through that process to really like fact check, to Google people, to make sure if someone says they work at a radio station, to actually go on that radio station's website and like make sure to find their name specifically, or LinkedIn. Basically just, yeah, I feel like I've learned to put a lot more time into researching, and I've become kind of like a detective online. But yeah, I mean, overall, I just feel like I charged a lot to the game, but with that, it definitely made me better. It made me learn like how to know people are for real. And then once you find those people that are for real and they are who they say they are, those are the people that you want to work with.
And a part of that is building that support circle, that close network, those people you can rely and bounce ideas off of. You have a support system in your circle, I'm sure. What did you look for in people when you were trying to build that initial network here? Obviously, you're coming out in some success now. You're bouncing ideas off people. What are some good qualities that they have for everyone out there who may not have anybody in their corner and they don't really know where to find them?
Yeah, it can be tough because in the beginning you're going to be alone, and even well into your career you might be alone. You know what I mean? Like you might have people that are there to help you, people that can be tools, but those people also still have their own things that they're doing in a lot of cases. So you have to learn how to be a manager. You have to learn how to, you have a goal in mind and you have to manage people in regards to what you're doing to help you with your goal while you're also helping them. But I think that, when you first start, like you can't expect anyone to come in and do it for you. You really have to be okay with like working. And that's the main thing that I look for when I look for people. Like, I honestly don't care how talented somebody is. I
Right.
really don't. Like, from a business standpoint, like, obviously, you want people you work with to be talented, but I would rather have a hard worker who's not talented, who can develop skills, than somebody who's super talented and lazy.
And that's the truth. I don't know the exact quote, but we've all heard it. The hard work beats talent when the talent doesn't work hard,
Yeah,
something
when
like
talent
that.
doesn't work hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
it's
you're hard.
fact, man. And you learn that when you're an employer.
And that's even something that was me for a while in certain areas of my life, even in school growing up. Like, okay, I'm just going to work the hardest. I may not be the best off the bat, but that's great there. One more thing I want to touch on before diving more into music. Everyone out there, we're going to talk about his latest song coming out, where he's at next. It's not easy to manage our time as an entrepreneur. Now that you've taken this on full time, you're all in. What are some things you do to make time to dedicate yourself day in, week out to this music game, to continuing to build your craft? It's obvious you're the only one in your corner, and most of the day you have to push yourself. There's no one there doing the work for you. It's going to have to all fall on you. How do you make time for it all?
Yeah, absolutely. And I obviously, of course, also have other things that I'm involved in other than music, as I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of other people do as well, having multiple streams of income. But one of the things that I try to do is have deadlines. I'm not like the best person. I feel like I used to be better at like making lists and then throughout the day, checking this off. And it's good to do that. I would love to get back to the habit of doing that again. But I feel like for me, as long as like I have a direction and I have a time frame that, hey, this has to be done by this time, like I'll make sure, even if it's a couple nights before, to stay up all night and do it. Not to say I want to procrastinate, but I just try to set dates and have my stuff done by certain dates.
I love that. And it's just something that will gravitate you towards success. You know where the finish line is. You can work on your own time and all of that. Set your own schedule. Some of the pros of entrepreneurship as well, but also the negatives of that is when work needs to get done, it's all on you. It could be Saturday, it could be Christmas Eve, it could be New Year's Eve, which has happened. I'm sure everyone that has joined this show as a guest, where a holiday of some sort was filled up with work. But he's here.
Sure.
He's here for his music. Want to show him some love and create some awareness for what he's got going on. If there is one song our audience could tune into, if they haven't heard any of your tunes yet, what song should they dive into? I know it's hard to pick just one.
It's hard to pick one. So I'll say the first song that you guys should listen to is called Paradise, featuring Best Believe and Knowledge. It's a tropical pop song. I did that song for like Florida and just for tropical vibes. But I also recently released a song called Want You, featuring K. Ruth and Kia Shaw, which is a dance vibe, and everybody that hears it loves it. So I would say one of those two.
I'm going on my Spotify now. I'm throwing him a subscribe there. Definitely got to keep up the work. Here in Tampa, we've got a lot of music on the scene. I mean, we've been lucky enough to have Pusha on the show, a lot of musicians even around the country. What is one venue, since you're here in Tampa, that you want to play at that you haven't been played at yet?
Honestly, I would like to play at the Salt Shack.
We're gonna have to tag them. What tracks you do that?
I'll do Paradise and I'll do the new song that I have coming, which is a tropical song. And it's just like, tropical beach vibes. People are outside by the water having a couple of drinks, and I just want them to put my song in the back and vibe out.
Hey, we're going to have to tag them when this episode goes live. Make that happen. Now,
Yes,
before I let you go, you got to tell everybody where they can find you online, where they can find your music, all things Don Drago.
Absolutely. So you can find me on all major streaming platforms, Don Drago, Dondrago. Again, all major streaming platforms. I have a website. Of course, Spotify is the main thing. Instagram, look me up.
All right, everybody, be sure to go check out all he does. We are at That Entrepreneur Show, and I'm at Vincent A. Lancy. Be sure to go to YouTube and throw me a subscribe there, because video clips from this show will be coming within the weeks of its release. Definitely want to see what it's like behind the scene with us today. Be sure to reach out to Danica if you're interested in becoming a show partner or show guest at podcastbylancy@gmail.com. And the same email goes for there if you want to learn more about the full service podcast production we have here at Left for Dead Inc. With that, we are signing off this time, both of us in the Tampa area. Don Drago, thanks so much.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. You have a great day. Appreciate you.
Of course.